on 3 separate occasions now, Lucy and I have recorded an hour.
We can laugh now.
An hour long episode, and I did not press record. This has happened 3 times, and it took me the last episode we recorded, it was so good. It took me, I shit you not, 4 days to recover from the fact that I didn't press record. I was so mad at myself. Like, ugh.
I wasn't even mad at you though. I really
Don't worry,
wasn't.
I had enough madness for like 500 people.
Hi, I'm Lucy.
And I'm Yasmine. We'll be here each week to talk about the highs and lows of entrepreneurship, building online business, and the problems we face in the e-com industry.
And we'll also be sharing the stories of the amazing women within our community who are all crushing it. So let's get into it.
I'm super excited. We're back with season 2. Now, I'm going to caveat that Yasmine and I have been through quite a lot of podcast trauma over the
Oh my God, it's been
over the past few weeks.
Yeah, it's been so bad.
But we're just taking it as a sign from the universe that we were meant to slow down and recalibrate. And now we are properly back, and we've got organised, and we have working microphones, and we're hitting the record button, and we've got good lighting.
Yeah, because just for context, if you're wondering what podcast trauma means, on 3 separate occasions now, Lucy and I have recorded an hour.
We can laugh now.
An hour long episode, and I did not press record. This has happened 3 times, and it took me the last episode we recorded, it was so good. It took me, I shit you not, 4 days to recover from the fact that I didn't press record. I was so mad at myself. Like, ugh.
I wasn't even mad at you though. I really
Don't worry,
wasn't.
I had enough madness for like 500 people. It was like,
you said this to me before in the summer. I remember you saying to me, I think in the summer something similar happened, and you were like, "Why are you not angry? Like, why are you not losing your shit?" And I was like,
it was exactly the same thing. It's
yeah,
like
I was like,
all the way from East London to West London to an in-person.
And on this occasion, I should caveat, I'd risked my life to go to a podcast studio on a Bali bike at 6 a.m.
Wait, what? Oh,
with a
yeah.
helmet,
Oh,
but
no,
still.
that was another time.
Yeah.
I'm talking about. I don't know what time we were actually in London, but anyway.
There's a theme of me going on a grand voyage to Yasmine and her not pressing record.
But I think that's also why I'm so angry at myself, and I like feel so guilty for you.
I think I'll give myself this, is like in those situations I'm pretty good at being like, this is out of my control. There is nothing I can do to fix it. There is no point being angry at anyone because these things happen and we're all human. Like,
yeah,
you know, like what would me being annoyed do? Literally nothing.
I'm just gonna take my webcam.
Except make you feel bad, which I wouldn't want to do.
Sorry, this is hilarious, but I've bought this webcam that doesn't work. Well, it does, but it's not compatible with my laptop. Good.
More podcast
and I just had it over on my propped on the top of my screen, and I can just imagine it like starting to creep over in the episode, like block my face,
covering the thing.
And we get to the end, it's like cool.
We're so like triggered.
I'm so paranoid.
Triggered by the whole.
Anyway, yes, let's get into it.
But we are back now. We are back.
Yay,
and
we're back.
I think
So excited.
Probably the best thing to start with is like quick life updates from both sides, because I mean a lot has changed since. I can't even remember when we stopped recording. It was at some point in the summer, but so much has changed.
Was I here?
I feel, and like
were we?
You weren't. No, we were in London.
Oh,
I think was when we decided to take a pause. But yeah, I feel like both our lives and like careers have evolved or pivoted like quite in quite a significant way really since then.
Well, you go first because I feel like yours is probably more. Well, yeah, you go first.
So I'm currently in Hong Kong, which is where I technically live, although I'm a flight risk perpetually. But I haven't actually. Yeah, I say that I haven't been here. I've been in Bali for the past, I think, 5 weeks, which was lovely. And to what we were talking about earlier, like just simple life of just literally getting up, learning to surf badly, training, and like just doing the work I needed to do was like so refreshing, rather than, I don't know what it is, I'm very like, when I'm in Hong Kong, like very go, and that's probably because I have a lot of in-person stuff here with Ecomm Girls Club. The other big change is, and I was doing this before, but I do a lot of presenting work and MC stuff, and I literally love it because I just like making people smile. It sounds so cringe, but it's true. I just like entertaining and making people laugh and happy and whatever. Been doing loads of that, which is why my voice also doesn't sound great actually at the moment. But Yeah, it's just not healing. Like
It's actually
all I've
really
done
quite
for 10 days
relaxing.
is talk.
So it's quite cathartic.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah.
So someone said to me earlier, like, you've been doing loads of presenting. I was like, yeah, I'm surprised no one's told me to shut up yet, to be honest. But had the opportunity to present High Rocks, which for anyone who doesn't know is kind of like CrossFit. There was like 6,500 people competing and like 20,000 spectators. So that was
Mental.
just so much fun. Never had more fun in my life, but did like 75,000 steps over a weekend and had no voice after. Did a fashion show last week. That was awesome as well. And I've done loads of ecom conferences, which is great because it's always like nice when your passions like combine, if that makes sense. Like it's so nice to like go to a conference where I know all the like not know all the stuff, but learn stuff that's really applicable to my own business. And Ecomm Girls Club. So that's been great.
But so how
But yeah.
how would you say your career's evolved then? What would you say is like the main difference between when we last spoke on the podcast, which was in the middle of the summer, to now? Because I feel like you've undergone quite a big shift, if I'm honest, like mentally.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. One thing is like, and actually, Yaz, it was you who said this to me. It's like I've gone 110% for the past year and a half at the agency. For anyone who's new here, I run an agency. We build content systems for ecom brands, do some consulting, content marketing, that kind of stuff. Love it. But I think I was always in that mindset of like, you have to have the biggest and the best and like be a huge agency and like have full-time staff and work towards that, and that's success. And I've kind of realized that actually what brings me more joy, and I can't do it all the time because I would have no voice, but I love like the presenting and the storytelling and like helping facilitate events and making people smile. But actually, if that's like something I'm super passionate about and love doing, it's not conducive to have like the biggest agency in the world as well, because not that I ever did, but it's so stressful trying to scale an agency. And we've talked about this before as well. It's a people game. So like it's really hard to do. And I was at the point where I was working so hard, I was so burnt out that I wasn't even enjoying it. So I've actively tried to scale down my business, which I never thought I would ever hear myself say, and just kind of focus on like working with people I love and providing services I'm really good at on a much smaller scale where there's a lot less people management, so that I can like balance both. And obviously Ecomm Girls Club as well, because we love it, but we always say it doesn't even feel like work most of the time doing that, because it's great. So I think that's, and it's been like a big mindset shift. But I would also say like you've kind of gone through a similar thing in many ways, just different with like a brand and consulting work. But take it away. What have you been up to, Yaz?
Oh God. Well, I think I said on the last episode that we didn't record by accident.
Lol.
And it was quite an eye-opener for me really to even say it out loud, to realize it. But I have learned more in the last year of my career than, probably not combined, but than probably the last 5 years.
That's so cool though.
Yeah, it's
like what a cool thing
it's
to have
amazing
happened.
and completely unplanned.
You know?
But because I think I thought I got to a point in my career after like 10 years of being in industry where like I kind of thought I knew it all, which is very naive firstly, but that starts to happen after you've been doing the same thing for like a decade. You're like, I kind of get this now. But there was so much, and still is so much, that I didn't know. And so yeah, like my career's changed, my situation's changed a lot. I think I've gone from obviously having the agency for 5 years, figuring out what the hell I was then going to do after that for 2 years. I launched my own brand in that time. We started Ecomm Girls Club. But like I still really, really lacked direction, and anchorage, I think, is the main thing. Because like, you know, when you have your own, like obviously I had the agency, that was my anchor for so long. And then I came out of that and I was like, God, what do I do? And I just needed to do something to give me that like foot in the ground kind of thing. So I started Cloth Project. We did Ecomm Girls Club, which was totally unplanned, to be honest, but the best thing ever to come out of that.
Whoops. Like, oopsie, I started a business, literally.
And then I was like, okay, now I need to secure like an ongoing revenue. I need to secure cash flow, basically, because like that's the next step. So then I started consulting. And again, that was all just like word of mouth. I kind of started off just by like helping it's my boyfriend actually in his brand. And I didn't really see it as consultancy. I was just like, yeah, I'll help you with this one project they just needed a bit of help with. But then I just started talking about the fact that I was consulting now, and specifically in MPD, to be honest. And then more brands were like, oh, well, will you help us with our MPD? And I was like, yeah, sure. Because I do actually love it. It's very niche in terms of like
You're also
everything.
great at it.
Thank you. Like,
Yeah. Give yourself credit.
I really do enjoy it.
I've seen the result of it.
Thank you so much. And
yeah.
So then I went on this big journey, I guess, of like starting to work with, I've got like 4 clients in like beauty, health and wellness. And that's what I do. But like they range from really small startups all the way to like big business. And that has just given me exposure that like, wow, every day I'm like, fucking hell, this is epic. Like I get to be in the weeds of businesses that are at starting point, which I have done before, but then all the way up to like mid-sized businesses, all the way up to big size, like big business. And yeah, just that exposure has taught me so much, like stuff that I didn't even exist, and lessons that you don't even get unless you're like in a business, you know, like, so yeah, I've learned so much. And alongside all of that, through Ecomm Girls Club, actually, I am starting again my next talent-led brand, which I said
So
I'd never do
cool.
again. But
Lol.
here I am. And you know, the best thing, Luce, is like all these things I'm learning, all of it is going to go into that. And it, you know, all of it in terms of like, yeah, just the whole lot, to be honest. So that's kind of where I'm at. I'm in a position where I never thought I'd be again in terms of like launching a talent-led brand. But it's happened just kind of on its own, which I think is the best part about it. I'm like, cool, here we are again, but this time we're going to do it slightly differently.
Yeah. And I do think like it's honestly, I can relate to the agency side of things. The thing I enjoy the most, obviously I like doing the work and that kind of side of it, but the things I learn about different businesses and how they're run, and even ideas for like pivoting my own agency towards certain services or things, because I've learned about something in a brand. I'm like, that's interesting. What if you did it like this instead? And I do think it's great. And it's great when those moments come where it's like, oh, everything's coming together. Like, you know?
Yeah. Like, I'm not going to lie. Like I had a couple of, not bad weeks, but a couple of weeks where I was just like, oh, I think I texted you and I was like, I'm over it, because
But that's par for the course.
It's like a big thing going from working on your own brands all the time, or your own agency, to then working for other people's brands. Like I had to really just check my ego in that process. I'm going to be really open and transparent here, because it was,
and I helped you check it.
Yeah, you did. And like, but it was something that, I don't know, it's like, sounds really egotistical to say, but like I fucking hated the idea of working for someone else. And to be honest, I don't love it, but it's a mindset change. And like I said, I had to go through that process of being like, actually, how lucky am I that I get to work with these amazing people and these amazing brands doing really cool stuff and learn so much from these people and from these systems and processes and people who actually, you know, have been in the game a lot longer than me. I get to speak to them every day and learn. And I would say, like, when you're working for yourself, you probably get this as well. Oh, I don't know, maybe not, but I certainly found that when you're always the top person in the business, there's nowhere else to look up to. Like, there's nowhere else to go. You have to work a lot harder to find like mentors and advisors. But when you're working in businesses where they're already there, there's it's a real blessing to have that. So yeah, that's kind of the journey I've been on over the last 6 months. And I'm like, this is actually pretty good.
I also think I like the aspect of like the people you meet.
Yeah.
I love like meeting interesting people, and most of the time people building brands are pretty interesting, or like the story behind it is. So I think that's all a great thing. But I think it is hard when it's like that balance between like you work for yourself but you're servicing clients, because I even find this, it means the stuff that you do for yourself has to go to the bottom of the pile because they're paying for a service, right?
Yeah.
And that's really hard to balance. And I still struggle with that. And I've been so fortunate. I've got clients who are also friends who are like, Lucy, put my stuff next week, sort out your like business visa or, you know, whatever. But it is hard to do. Yeah. But to your point, like there's no such thing as balance, right?
There's no such thing as balance. And I think what I'm finding is really helpful at the moment is time blocking, which I know sounds just like really arbitrary, but time blocking.
Grace Beverly talks about it.
Yeah. And it's like a really easy way to be like, right, I'm going to spend the next 2 hours on client X. And when it gets to those 2 hours, that's it. I draw my line in the sand. And like, I generally do it based on, so if I'm paid to do 2 days a week for a client, that's 3 hours a day. So I'll literally block out 3 hours a day to work on them, and that's it. It has to be it, because otherwise you're then
you end up
overstretching
yourself.
and not committing enough time to maybe your own stuff that you also want to do.
Yeah, I think so. And I think actually just going back to what you said about when you're running your own thing and like you have no one above you, I've really struggled, I would say, the past few months with like decision fatigue.
Yeah, 100%.
Like making decisions.
Yeah,
like I was to the point where there was a point a few weeks ago where I just couldn't, I had to take some time away because I was like, I literally can't make any more decisions about my business, about my team, about my life, about my clients, about, for me, I move around a lot, where I'm going to live, like what I'm going to do. Like it was just so overwhelming, and it's because I think it compounds because you do have to just constantly make decisions. And it's hard to know if they're the right ones. But I also thought we can't really do a like welcome back without talking about Ecomm Girls Club and where that's at, because that has also evolved
a lot
over the past few months. Yeah, like it's so great. We've got so many new members. Our events, like for anyone listening, like Yaz is obviously in Dubai, I'm in Hong Kong. We were like born in London, and it is always a balance for us because we're both on the move quite a lot. But we've kind of got it nailed now that we're doing like regular in-person stuff as well, which is just the best.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna lie, I always shied away from it because I was nervous. Like I hated, past tense, organising events.
The idea of,
and then I do it and I'm like, actually, this is pretty cool. And the best thing about the community is, so for example, our next event is the London Festive Finale, which I was really proud of that name.
Ho, ho, ho. Yeah, I knew that.
Which is like going to be a dinner for members and non-members. If you're listening, the event's on the 17th of December. So still got time to get tickets in London, in Chiswick at High Road House. And like the community have just really come together. Like I can't tell you how much easier the girls have made it for me organising it. Obviously I'm in Dubai, but there's such an appetite for in-person events all over the world that the London girls are like, I'll help do this, and I think I've got a sponsor for this, or we can put some products in the goodie bags. And I'm just like, this is epic. Like it makes, you know, like what you said right at the beginning, it just doesn't feel like work. It makes it so much fun.
No.
So that's exciting.
And I think we're also, like, we should say as well, we're so fortunate that, to your point, community members and like other groups and organizations that support us as well. Like I ran a content workshop here in Hong Kong, and we had this beautiful workspace who were more than happy to give us the space to host the workshop because they could see the value in it, which is awesome. And we did Ecomm Girls Fitness Club in conjunction with a gym, the Clubhouse here in Hong Kong and High Rocks. We're going to do it again because that went down so well and it was just so fun. A lot of us obviously we all work online and we're on screen, so it was just nice to do something, get outside and like get moving and in a really relaxed setting and just like connect.
If you're listening to this, or maybe you're not listening to it yet because you don't think you are part of the ecom world, I feel like this was another great section that we had in the last episode that we definitely should try and get out again. But
we will re-record.
What is ecom? Like, honestly, it's so broad. And Lucy, I feel like you pulled up a definition last time, which was really useful. I don't know if you remember it.
I did.
But essentially it's anything find it. But basically, if you're trading any goods or service online, you're technically in e-commerce. So in our community already, we've obviously got like the what you think e-commerce is, right? So like, I have a product and I sell it online. Brands, consumer goods, Shopify. Exactly. Yeah. Like we've got a whole host of girls in that space, but we've also got just your marketeers who work for an e-commerce brand, or paid media agencies who work with e-commerce brands.
Social media managers,
freelancers, photographers. Like all of the above are applicable to e-commerce, and therefore if you fall under any of those categories, then you can also feel free to join Ecomm Girls Club. Yeah, virtual assistants. I mean, we have like a broad spectrum of people who sit within e-commerce.
It is so great. The definition here is e-commerce is the activity of electronically buying or selling products and services online on platforms or just over the internet.
Great.
So yeah, it's so broad. And to be honest, even like gyms and stuff that are like traditional like brick and mortar businesses, right? Like you have to have an online presence now.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
so it is to sell things and like online PT and all that kind of stuff. So it has been like just so great to see the community evolve. We even like I don't read unless it's like the Daily Mail. But we've even started a book club and I got so much FOMO that I read a whole book.
Same. I mean, I read 3/4 of it and then I was like, oh God. But it does help
No,
for
it's so fun.
accountability. That's the most I've the most I've got into a book.
Right.
The most I've read. Yeah, thanks.
And it was cool to
But
discuss it as well and just like get perspectives.
100%. Yeah. I agree.
Yeah. So the girls club is thriving.
Yep, it is.
So yeah, if you wanna, I mean, we don't need to plug it, but you should come and join us. You can sign up on our site or come talk to Yasmine and I in DMs on Instagram. We're always there for chats to like tell you more about it. We're obviously super passionate about it. But I would say also in Ecomm world, like again, given the time of year, we can't really do an episode for the Ecomm Girls Club podcast without acknowledging how busy it is this time of year with BFCM, which is Black Friday, Cyber Monday, to all those who celebrate. I feel like everyone I speak to at the moment is at that point of the year where they're just like, just got to get through it. Like, I've just got to get to like the other side of Christmas.
Can I just be really honest here? Like, I feel like that, but
You just chilling.
no.
You're just chilling. Like, everyone else is stressed, but Yasmine's fine in Dubai, everyone. She's at a beach club, don't you worry. Like,
I'm just sat here like I've been feeling like this for the last month in the run up to Black Friday, and I feel like maybe it's because I've got a business partner on Cloth Project who just like looks after a lot of the like the website, the UX, the marketing. She is our marketer, right? So
yeah,
maybe that's why. But I just have not got swept up or felt any level of stress as a result of Black Friday. But I also feel like maybe that is just a reflection of kind of where I'm at in my own career. Like I've got a cloth project, but it's a baby. So it's not like we've got 100 SKUs and we're in retail and blah, 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 right? So, and I've got Sasha. But so I just want to put it out there. I can't relate to the Black Friday specific stress, but I know a lot of people are really, really going through it. But I can relate to sprinting towards the finish line of that Christmas holiday. Like I feel like I need that more than ever.
I'm tired.
I'm so tired. Like I'm so tired. And I think probably a lot of our listeners are kind of feeling that at this stage in the year. You know, even if you are in lovely sunny Dubai, it's very intense even for like the girls. We've got a smaller community out here, obviously, because we're only just started to grow it. But I do know that everybody's kind of feeling the pinch a bit at the moment. So yeah. I just want to be like really real.
I think so. No, it's so fair. I mean, like for me, like I building like content systems and stuff like that. I produce a lot of content for paid ads.
Yeah.
So naturally there's a lot to do. But I also just think it's also this time of year is kind of tricky because you're still in this year, but you're thinking about next year. And to my point about decision fatigue, it's just like, I find it quite a lot. As if you're a brand owner or running a business, you're thinking about financial planning for next year, but also in terms of like goals and like what you want out of the next year and reflecting on this year. And it can be quite overwhelming. But I have, to your point, like I've also like tried really consciously just to be present and just do like each day and like make sure I'm not enjoying where I'm at now because I'm too busy thinking about what's happening like next year or like, you know, those kind of things. Because this time of year it's weird. It's like you're like racing towards the finish line, but you're also like the year's not done, you know.
Yes,
like,
exactly.
there's still like a month to go.
That's how I feel. So I've booked my flight to go home on the 16th of December. Like to go back to London.
Home is London.
Yeah, I'm gonna be there for like 4 days. Do the Christmas dinner, Ecomm Girls Club Christmas dinner, see friends, and then I've got to go to Spain because that's where my mum lives for Christmas. But that's still like 2 weeks away, and I'm still not going to be off at that point. But it's like I really feel like we're in that like weird middle ground where I've got that to look forward to, but it's still not. We're not there yet, so it's still like head down, grind it out. Like I've actually set myself some like I don't know KPIs, targets. across each client that I personally want to hit before that deadline day. And I feel like doing that, even though there's only 3 weeks left, is really helping my motivation at probably a time of year where I'd otherwise like really be falling off a cliff now, like dying, I'm exhausted, I need to have a break. So yeah, that's actually been a really helpful tactic.
Yeah, that is good. I mean, it does help when you have deadlines and stuff that you need to hit. I've definitely got some, and I've got some new client work, which again, I feel for this time of year is quite rare. Normally, like you wouldn't start new things, but it's quite nice because it's like energizing.
Yeah.
To have like new things on the go as well. But I also find, and maybe this is probably relatively Hong Kong specific, but because there's a huge expat community here, so everyone leaves for Christmas, like mid-December, like it's like an exodus. So Christmas like starts super early, and so I've got stuff in the diary every single day of the week, socially as well, which on top of, I mean,
that's so intense.
I could have some self-control and say no, but it's but like a lot of it's also, some of it's business related, like Ecomm Girls Club or like other like business events and Christmas dinners and Christmas catch-ups, and you don't want to not do those like networking things, but it is intense on top of like the time of year, like, you know.
But so are you like, are you compromising in other areas? Like, so for example, what do I mean like by that? So I'm in Dubai, I'm 4 hours ahead of the UK, and I had calls until 9 o'clock the other night. So I didn't start work until midday here. So then I worked from like 12 till 9, which I don't know, it's still quite a long day, but so I compromised, if you want, I don't know, it's probably a better word. I utilized that morning time to just literally do nothing, go for a walk, go to the gym, do like not work. Are you doing that as well on all the days? Because I don't know about you, but I can literally do like, if I do more than one social event a week, literally, I'm like too tired.
Yeah, so I would say you always have been. You're way better at being disciplined with your own time than I am, which is a flex.
I do say no.
Like, I wish I was
like a lot of shit these days.
like I'm just not as good at it. But it's definitely something I need to like think about. I mean, that's also why I spend a lot of time in Hong Kong and I love it and it's crazy, but I then remove myself from the situation for periods of time to somewhere where it's very calm, quiet, isolated, and I live a simple life. And I find like that is how I balance it, which maybe wouldn't work for everyone. And I'm very fortunate that my life setup allows me to do that and I can just choose to go where I want. But that's how I kind of compensate. So I have like really quiet time where I don't do much socially away, and then I come back and just like bosh through everything. But that's like my personality generally is quite like that, like on or off. So I think that's how I do it.
But I think as long as that's fine, isn't it? As long as you've got that mechanism in place.
Yeah.
But I also find just by like saying no to more means that when I do go to the things that I want to go to, like I am fully there. I'm not sat there thinking like, oh my God, it's already 9 o'clock and I need to be in bed in an hour. Like, which is what I used to do. I'd dread going, and then I'd get there and I'd love it for the first like hour, and then I'd be like anxious that it's getting late and I need to be up at 6 o'clock in the morning, and it would take away from the enjoyment. But it would be because I'm like, right, I've got to be up at 6, I've got a class at 7, and then I've got to be on my laptop by 9, and then I've got to smash out all this work. And it's just like, just let go a bit, like just chill a little bit. And I think we've definitely spoken about this on previous podcasts, but
we're not doing surgery. We're not doing heart surgery.
Yeah.
No one's
dying. Like, it's okay.
Like,
and also, if you are,
You're
a lot of the girls listening in our community are like career driven. They have their own thing going on, or they aspire to have their own thing going on. Like, we've got a long time doing this, like, many years, hopefully. Why are we racing towards this like imaginary finish line, which for me was always 32? Like, I've got to have my shit together. I've got to have like a massive brand by 32 because that's when I want to have.
Why 32?
That's when I want to have my first child. But even that now I have let go of, and I'm like, fuck that. Like, I'll have a baby when I have a baby. We'll have a kid when it's right for us, not when I'm like, I've decided since 15 that I wanted to have a kid by 32. Like, what the fuck? Why? So yeah, just like removing those boundaries that I put in place for myself, which is just so stupid. And yeah, it's just allowing myself to relax a bit. I don't know why I've gone down this massive tangent rabbit hole, but was it about, we were talking about balance?
No. Yeah. And then the other thing I was going to ask you is like, I feel like both of us have changed our like perspectives a lot this year on like work-life balance. Not that there is balance, but like how we manage it and things like that, and like what we want to do and all these things. Like, what is your like definition of success? Because I think that's something that's super interesting, because
Yeah.
typically, like, and especially in ecom world, I will say, and when I say ecom world, I mean like the traditional Shopify brands, all that kind of stuff. Especially with the guys, I would say, but maybe it's just because I knew more guys who were brand owners, fixated on numbers and exit numbers and like revenue and like obviously CAC and NCPA and all the acronyms, but very heavily fixated on like financial goals. But I kind of think as you get older, like, well, I've found I've definitely shifted like my mindset on like quality of life being, which money plays into, obviously, but in terms of like, what is the point of, and I asked myself this when I was having decision fatigue, what is the point of working so hard if you can't take a day off and enjoy your life, or you can't go surfing if that's what you want to do, or you can't go to, what is the point?
Exactly.
Like, you know, or if you can't take a few weeks off, like to do something cool.
I think so. I'm a bit of a weird one. I've never ever had financial goals in terms of like holding myself to a number. I never have, and I don't know why, but it's never been about that. I've always, however, been monetary driven, and I will always be monetary driven. Everyone listening probably is, or most people, and I know you are. And like, I think that's a fantastic trait to have. I think you need to have, like, at the end of the day, how can you run a business if you're not focusing on the bottom line and your P&L and your profits? Like, you need to have that attention. But I think really what does success mean to me? Financial freedom. But why? Why financial freedom? And exactly as you've just said, so that you can dictate your own day and your own schedule. Like, success to me means if I wake up and I've had a really shitty night's sleep, I can just say, I'm taking the day off. That's it. Like that genuinely, that means, and the world's not going to fall apart, and, you know, my business isn't going to fall apart, and my money's going to stop. Like, it's not like I've got to go and stand on a market stall and sell, this is the only analogy I can think of, sell like fruit and vegetables in the morning to make money. Like, I have the choice to not go to work that day if I need to take time for myself, for my mind, my body, my soul, whatever it might be. That flexibility and freedom, that is success to me. And I think in later life, how that plays out is like when I have a family and I have kids, if I have to be somewhere for them and, you know, it's sports day or it's whatever, or I just want to hang out with my kids, then I can. I don't need to be like doing a certain thing at a certain time. Obviously, unless I've got calls in the diary, I kind of have to do those. But you know what I mean? Yeah. It's just like, and all within reason. But I would honestly say, yeah, the older I get, that's what freedom is to me. Like, if I want to come to Hong Kong in January so that I can do our Ecomm Fitness Girls event, then I can. I don't need to like book annual leave out of my 4 weeks a year. You know, like, yeah, I could go on and on, but in a nutshell, financial freedom and generally freedom to move is my
I think like freedom's always been one of my like core values as well, and it causes me much trouble at times, but like like the freedom of choice to like live my life how I want is like a massive thing. And don't get me wrong, there's obviously a balance. Like, financially, I'm also a very independent person, as is Yaz, and it's like I want to make sure I can look after myself and like deal with emergencies and all these kind of things. But I do think it's like, why do I run the businesses and stuff, and like, why am I working this hard? It's to do with, for me anyway, it's like I want to be able to look after myself now, my future self, my future family, and my family. And then like that's happy, and that's happiness for me. You know, like never been like I can't wait to have a Lamborghini.
Absolutely
I feel like it's
not.
more of a guy thing, but
but
don't care. Literally don't care. But if you do, that's also fine. Like, you know, it's not, if that's means something to you, like, fair enough. I wouldn't judge someone for wanting to do it. It's just not my personal thing. The other thing I would say, and this is like probably less tied to success, but more like gratitude, maybe, I don't know, is, and I've probably said this on the podcast because I do bang on about it a lot, which is probably quite annoying, but the percentage chance of like being born, in my case, right, in the UK, to great parents who like really provided for me, like gave me I was spoiled in terms of opportunities to like try things and do things. Like that's a massive, obviously we both work really hard, but that's a massive leg up. And it's like, I don't want to waste that. Like and even when I'm having like bad days sometimes, or like things are going horribly wrong, I'm like, hang on, how many people would kill to have this opportunity? Or like, I'm aware that I've done the work to start the businesses and stuff, but also like the steps that got there, you know, like just being born in the UK in a safe environment, right? Like already a massive leg up in life and a massive head start. So it's like, don't want to waste that. I want to make sure that I'm doing something that has impact or like impacts people positively, because like not everyone gets those opportunities, you know? So yeah, it's my TED talk for the day.
No, I think you're spot on. Like it is about gratitude and I know, I agree. Nothing to add to that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we've got loads of stuff coming up for the pod. We've got all these different topics we wanted to discuss, like everything from like building brands, like how you get your side hustle to your full-time job, which I think our community will love, because there's a lot of girls I know, especially out here in Hong Kong actually, who are like trying to make that transition or working towards it. So I think we've got loads of stuff coming up for the pod, but it's just good to be back and be chatting again.
I just think, it's great to be back. It's good to be, the number of times that I get asked, when's the pod coming back? When's the pod coming back? And we've attempted it so many times. Lucy, I've literally got like PTSD. I'm like, keep looking at the record button, like fucking tell me when it's recording. Oh my God, like, it makes my heart drop every time. But you know, it's good to be back. And I think like the main purpose of this podcast is honestly just to, I was speaking to a girl called Melissa about it the other day, and it's almost like our weekly therapy session.
Well, this is my point. We were having these conversations anyway. Like Yaz and I get on calls and like do therapy for 15 minutes, and then we talk about Ecomm Girls Club. It's like we're literally having this, like the amount of times one of us would get on a Google Meet last year, one of us would be crying.
Oh my God, yeah.
Someone would be crying.
But that's
about
I think
a brand,
that's what
an agency.
People love about this podcast, is that we are really, hopefully, relatable. Like I will come on here and I will be honest with how I'm feeling, what I'm up to, if I'm in a great mood, if I'm in a rubbish mood, like, and Lucy is exactly the same. And like, that is representative of most of the girls in our community. And you know what's also really cool? The more I'm meeting people, the more it's like when you and I are talking, I also just feel like I'm talking to them. Do you know what I mean? Like it's just, it's just a really great space to be in. So I love that we're back.
I mean, I always say this about Ecomm Girls Club. I'm like, it's been amazing. It's amazing to help people connect and like bring people together. But it's also massively self-served, Yasmine. Like, so we've now got loads of mates in Ecomm. Like, so great.
Literally.
Like, and I work in a co-working space in Hong Kong where half of our members also work. So it's lovely.
No,
like,
it's the best.
See them all the time. Yeah. So good.
So on that note, I feel like we'll wrap up today's episode. We are recording back to back, I feel, next week. Can't remember the schedule, but just to kind of make sure we have bi-weekly episodes coming out for you guys on a range of topics that, just from feedback from the community, we believe to be interesting and important. So stay tuned. Like and subscribe our YouTube, because we really want to grow the YouTube.
Oh yeah, we do need to do like and subscribe. Also follow our Instagram and like my reel, because it took me ages to make it. So like I would really like more likes
good
on
views,
it.
Actually, that's done quite well.
It did. It was a masterpiece. It took me so long.
No, it was epic. Awesome. Okay.
Well, have a great week.
Bye.
If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to hit the subscribe button on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. And to get involved with Ecomm Girls Club, search for @Ecomm Girls Club on Instagram.
But if you feel like taking your Instagram stalking one step further, we are both also on Instagram @YasmineChic and @LucyCG.